They never cared about my husband while he was alive.
For the first time, we hear exclusively from actor Jonathan Joss's husband after Joss was shot and killed earlier this week. And he demands answers and wants to know why more wasn't done to prevent the deadly shooting. Thanks for joining us for News at 6. I'm Mandy Noel. We sat down for an exclusive one-on-one interview with Jonathan Joss's husband, and he wants to talk about how the case was handled and has been handled by police. News 4 San Antonio's Taylor Whartonby is live tonight. After doing today's interview, tell us about what all he said.
Mandy, the husband of Jonathan Joss, Tristen Kern de Gonzales, says despite police saying they found no evidence of this being a hate crime, he still thinks not enough was done over the past 2 years. And he says this wasn't the situation, it wasn't taken seriously.
Jonathan was killed not only for being in the LGBT community, but also for being an indigenous man.
Tristen Kern de Gonzales, Jonathan Joss's husband, spoke out saying the death of his husband wasn't just a tragedy, but failure of the system.
Almost 2 years, longer than that, Jonathan and I tried to go through the proper channels, make the reports, and nothing was done or taken seriously.
We obtained this video that shows Joss yelling at someone in the neighborhood. We also know police had been called out to the address more than 60 times over the past couple of years. Tristen says he also tried to make reports to the San Antonio Police Department and wonders why more wasn't done.
They never cared about my husband while he was alive, so I really don't expect them to do much now. But first and foremost, I think that they are just trying to cover up the fact that they did nothing after repeated pleas for help.
The San Antonio Pride Center in our community say they've seen a high rate of violence against LGBTQ plus people, specifically against indigenous and those of color.
No one should have multiple calls, safety calls, wellness checks from our public safety institution result in them still being murdered by gun violence.
We reached out to the San Antonio Police Department regarding these claims, and we are waiting to hear back. Although earlier in the week they said there was no evidence this was a hate crime. For News 4 San Antonio, I'm Taylor Whartonby.
The man accused of killing Joss is now out of jail. He posted bond and walked out of the detention center about 2 hours ago. It was just before 4. News 4's Phil Sterling is live. You were there when it happened, Phil. Bring us up to date.
That's right. Sigfrido Alvarez was arrested on Monday and he was granted bail the same day. But just a few hours ago, as you said, he walked through those doors that you see behind me here at the Bexar County Jail. Now, when he did, he walked out wearing sunglasses and a mask. 2 others were with him. One was holding an umbrella to hide him from our cameras. And when he ran, so did we. I asked him what he thought of the allegations just before he was shuffled into a car, which sped away. Before coming to the jail today, I was able to talk to one of Jonathan Joss's brothers, but he felt uneasy about the case, so he didn't want to be on camera. George Gonzalez says he loved to hear his brother bring up some of the work he'd done, like playing John Redcorn in the show King of the Hill.
John would break into that Redcorn voice from time to time. People thought it was hilarious.
Though Gonzalez hadn't talked to his brother in 8 years because of a family dispute, he fondly remembers Jonathan.
He was giving. He enjoyed making people happy.
Especially his fans.
In that business, you're paid for autographs, you're paid for photos, and people would sneak up behind him and take a quick photo. And I'd try to stop him and say, hey, this is his business. And he'd say, it's okay.
Gonzalez's brother says that although he heard reports of Joss acting erratic, he says his family has no history of mental illness. Phil Sterling reporting live, News 4 San Antonio.
Joss was also on a podcast last weekend during a trip to Austin. The podcast mainly focused on Joss's role in King of the Hill, but he did speak about when his house burned down in January.
My closest friend said, Jonathan, we know you set that fire. We know you did it for the money. I said, guys, my dogs. We're there. I would never hurt my dogs.
Yeah.
I would never light my dogs on fire.
Yeah, no kidding.
Joss also made several mentions of his love for his husband. It was one of his last public interviews before his death over the weekend. San Antonio police are partnering with Pride San Antonio to host a community forum following his death. Pride San Antonio says the session will give police a chance to answer questions, listen to concerns, and share updates with the community. Police say they know many people in the LGBTQ+ community may be fearful right now. The forum will be at the New Living Spiritual Center main auditorium on Donaldson at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mandy Noel, and we continue coverage now into the shooting death of actor Jonathan Joss. The man accused in the crime, Sigfredo Ceja Alvarez, was just released from jail. We were there as Alvarez was released from the downtown detention center a few minutes before 4, just about an hour ago. He faces a murder charge. He's accused of shooting and killing Jonathan Joss. News 4 San Antonio's Phil Sterling is live downtown right now. Phil, you are one of several reporters there as he was released. Bring us up to date.
Mandy, Sigfredo Alvarez just walked out of the Bexar County Jail about an hour ago that you see behind me. Here's the video. He walked out with sunglasses and a mask. Not only that, but 2 other people were with him. One was holding an umbrella to hide him from our cameras. And when he ran, so did we. I had to ask what he thought of the allegations just before they shuffled him into a car, but that's when the car sped away. Now, Joss's family was much more open and actually sat down with me and told me how selfless he was. His brother, George Gonzales, says he hadn't spoke with him in 8 years and declined to appear on camera because he thought because of the uneasiness he had about the case. Still, he described his brother as someone who gave generously to others and took time with people no matter the situation. He says Joss often gave autographs and took photos with fans without asking for anything in return. Gonzales says although he's heard of reports of his brother acting erratically, he said his family has no history of mental illness. Now at 6, we'll have more on what his brother says that the relationships that Joss built with his community. Phil Sterling reporting live, News 4 San Antonio.
Tonight, new video from a podcast Joss appeared on days before he was killed. The podcast, filmed over the weekend in Austin, mainly talks about Joss's role on King of the Hill. He also spoke about his life, including when his house burned down in January.
My house got burned down. They could not roll out arson. I didn't have any electricity. I had a little fire going in the house. My husband and I put it out. We left to get lunch, and we came back, and the house was burnt down. Our 3 dogs died in the fire.
Joss also talked about his husband and the love he had for him. He also appeared at the Austin, Texas TV Festival panel over the weekend as well. And tomorrow, the San Antonio Police Department is responding to concerns from the LGBTQ community after Joss's murder. Police, along with Pride San Antonio, will host a community forum. They released a statement on Facebook, which reads in part, "We know that many people in our LGBTQ+ community have questions and may feel especially fearful right now. We invite you to join us and Pride San Antonio at an upcoming community meeting where we'll share updates and listen to your concerns." That forum is tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Woodlawn Point Center of Community.